Hey guys, this is going to be a review of Reign Season 3, Episode 18, Spiders in a Jar, which is also the Season 3 finale. And honestly, there are so many possible things to say about this episode that I'm not really sure where to start. The thing is, I have talked a lot this season about being extremely unhappy with some of the things they've been doing. Last couple of episodes it got a bit better, I got more optimistic. I was excited to see Mary in Scotland because I thought that could help turn things around, but then they made some decisions in the finale that I'm also very much not happy about and kind of drive home a few of the things that have been bothering me about the show recently and kind of made them even more obvious. I did already go into detail about a lot of this on Tumblr, so for me, I'm gonna feel kind of repetitive and possibly forget that I didn't say something in the video because I actually said it on Tumblr. There are several different problems I have. I think in a lot of ways they all kind of intersect with each other. First thing is that there were too many deaths / people leaving for various reasons this season. I know that a lot of that probably had to do with the actors themselves leaving, and there was only so much control the writers had over that. And for that reason, I want to be more lenient, but it also can't really change how I feel about it. I do kind of feel like death in general is kind of divisive with Reign. I'm not angry that they killed off certain characters. Like, I can't pinpoint one character and like say I'm mad about their death. I just feel like there are certain shows that can get away with killing off tons of characters. I don't watch Game of Thrones. I'm under the impression that Game of Thrones is like that, however, so from Game of Thrones you expect a lot of characters to die. But Reign, it really doesn't fit that much to have like so many main characters die. It doesn't fit with like past seasons, this level of like main character death, and I just feel like season 3 reached a tipping point where they killed off or got rid of far too many people and it was just too much. And like I said in my Tumblr post, too much of anything is boring, which is pretty much how I feel about a lot of that on Reign. Is it just got to be too much where I was pretty much completely unsurprised when someone new died, like Lola and Leith in the finale. I wasn't expecting Lola and Leith to die, even though we don't technically know if Leith will survive or not. But still, I wasn't expecting either of them to die. I wouldn't have guessed it before the finale, but when it started happening in the finale, I wasn't shocked. I was just like, okay, of course they're going to do that. And it didn't feel surprising because it had happened too much, and I don't like that. I don't like that the deaths on the show have seemed to have lost so much power because I'm just expecting people to leave at this point. Then there's the wonderful problem that I have, and the biggest thing I already talked about on Tumblr. I think we now have 4 main characters who are female. Now I will allow that a lot of characters left this season, both male and female, so the cast got incredibly smaller, but we also got new characters that are like all male, except for the only new female characters I can think of are that girl that Sebastian had a thing with that didn't even have a line, and the old lady who kept appearing to Sebastian, who isn't like a main character. I can't even remember her name. All of the other main characters, particularly in Scotland, because that's the focus, are male. So we now have 4 significant female characters in Reign, and of those 4 characters we have Mary alone in Scotland with a bunch of male characters, Elizabeth alone in England with a bunch of male characters, and Catherine and Claude are together in France, and that's it. One of the things I've loved about Reign since the very beginning is the role that friendship has played, particularly Mary's friendship with her ladies, which is the biggest reason why I'm angry that they killed Lola off, because Mary now has none of her ladies, and beyond that really has no friends, because Sebastian was her last friend left. He is now left as of the season finale, and she has her brother, that's basically it, and she doesn't really know him. I mean, she's grown up in France since the time she was very little. They hardly know each other, even though he is her brother, and I do hope that they develop a close relationship because that would make me happy. Still, she has like no one, and I've talked before, and I also talked about this on Tumblr. I had the storyline with Elizabeth and Lola going on where Lola kept emphasizing to Elizabeth how important friendship was and how she didn't have it and she like needed it, otherwise she was going to be lonely. But simultaneously to that storyline going on, Mary was losing all of her friends until at the end of the season she has like none. And you had this whole storyline playing out of like Mary needing to like come into her own and like do things on her own without her friends. That would be like a valid story choice if it was handled a certain way, but to have that playing out and Mary losing all her friends while also simultaneously showing this storyline where Lola's emphasizing how important friendship should be is completely contradictory, and I couldn't, like, that bothered me the entire season, and it just got worse in the finale. Because Rain had such great female friendships. Not only like Mary and her ladies, but also Mary and Catherine I loved together, and they're now in completely different countries. I'm just really frustrated with that. Like, it would be one thing if we only had 4 significant female characters if they were able to interact with each other, but as it stands right now, the only ones who will be interacting on a regular basis, at least directly, is Catherine and Claude, because obviously there's going to be a lot of tension between Mary and Elizabeth, which I'll talk about in a minute. I am really excited about, but they're not going to come face to face probably for a while, because I feel like they're going to draw out Mary and Elizabeth actually like seeing each other. Also, and again this ties in to everything, I also feel like we ended the season with such like so many characters dead or gone, like familiar characters, and we have all of these new characters, which I kind of feel isn't a great way to end the season, because like I'm going to use James as an example because I feel like we're all going to end up liking James in the end. Like, I like him so far. He seems pretty awesome. I'm excited to learn more about him, but you only really get him for like 2 episodes this season where you really see him, and so you're not emotionally attached at the end of the season. I almost feel like that's why they had to have Laith die / almost die at the end of the season to create tension for next season, because the vast majority of the characters are gone, and that just feels like a terrible situation to be in at the end of a season, as opposed to like the middle of the season or the beginning of the season, when you can establish relationships with new characters and get the audience attached to them before the finale. I feel like these are all problems that I could rant about for a really long time, but I really don't want to. I want to end this on a positive note. Like, the one positive thing that I can definitely say right now is I am so excited for the continuing tension between Mary and Elizabeth. Mary and Elizabeth are both awesome. I like love both of them as characters, and so I don't really have a side in their conflict. I know what happens historically speaking, but I am so excited to see this play out between them. I am so much looking forward to that. So I'm trying to focus on that aspect of the story right now instead of everything else that I'm not as happy about. I honestly think that's the only thing I'm really excited about now. I also just remembered that I was going to mention Sebastian. His like feelings for Mary, it's so weird to me. Okay, they didn't bring him up from like the first season, all of the second season, and almost all of the third season. You don't get any hint that Sebastian still has feelings for Mary, and then you have that moment where it becomes very clear that he does still have feelings for her. Then they ignore it again, and then he leaves the show. That also kind of annoyed me. Like, I was frustrated when his feelings suddenly reappeared out of nowhere, but then to have them ignored again and then him immediately leave the show, and you just have this one strange place where his feelings are acknowledged again in just that place. Also kind of annoyed about that, and I forgot that I was going to mention that. My one biggest hope for the next season, aside from like just continuing awesomeness with Mary and Elizabeth, is I would really appreciate Mary developing some new friendships. I don't feel like it's going to be the same, because like with her old ladies, they've been friends since they were little, and now she have to start new friendships. But as I mentioned on Tumblr, they do seem to be sticking closer to history now. And as I mentioned on Tumblr, Mary had ladies in waiting who were her ladies from the time they were little. They went to France with her, and they went back to Scotland with her and stayed with her like the entire time. So if they want to stick close to history, Mary should have a group of close friends who are like always with her, which is just another reason why all of her ladies disappearing really makes me angry. But I would love for her to develop some new friendships, possibly get new ladies in the next season. I would also love for Elizabeth to have like a good friendship. I would appreciate that, but I feel like we're less likely to get that storyline considering her character so far. Even though I am feeling very frustrated with the show as of right now, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for season 4 and hope that it gets better, even if I'm still frustrated with it in some ways. Like, I just really hope it gets better than where it ended season 3. We'll see though, because we have a long wait. So I will see you guys later. Bye.